It's Jake Jeremy, and you're watching the SEScoops YouTube channel. On today's video, I'm going to be talking about the AEW Revolution pay-per-view and who this mystery Hall of Fame caliber talent is that's going to be making their debut this Sunday on pay-per-view. The former Big Show Paul White confirmed on this week's episode of Dynamite that there's going to be a major Hall of Fame caliber talent joining All Elite Wrestling this Sunday at the Revolution pay-per-view. Now, we don't know who it is, but there's a few different talents who we're guessing it may well be. Now, naming those talents, number one, it's going to be looking at CM Punk. Now, CM Punk himself has turned around and said that it's not him. He's not the one showing up to the show on Sunday. Now, if you're Punk, you probably would say that. You don't want to ruin the surprise. But at the same time, he's one of the biggest names in pro wrestling within the last 10 to 15 years, fundamentally, in terms of people that were at the top of the card in WWE, at least in the last decade, especially since 2011 when he had that massive pipe bomb promo. He's been one of the major names. He is one of the major free agents who is out there, who has not wrestled in a very long time, that would get a lot of intrigue from a lot of fans. So it might be him. He said it's not him, but you would say that, wouldn't you? So, number two, we're looking at Brock Lesnar. Now, Lesnar has not appeared in WWE since he lost at WrestleMania last year inside of the Performance Center to Drew McIntyre. It's probably not going to be Lesnar, because Lesnar has, as much as he's very much, I don't want to say the word mercenary, but it's quite clear that when he was in the UFC doing MMA and he was floating back and forth between WWE and UFC, he was playing the two off against each other. Now, of course you're going to do that, because you're trying to make the most amount of money possible and you're going to play off the two major properties that want you. The question is, do All Elite Wrestling, do AEW have the money to pay for a Brock Lesnar talent? Now, they do. Of course they do. They have the budget there. Clearly, we don't know the exact workings monetarily of the company, because they're a private company. They're not like WWE. They're not public. So we don't know the exact books. We don't know exactly how the payroll sheet is looking at the moment. But if they wanted to stretch to Brock Lesnar, I think they could do it. I think it's safe to say they could do it. But will it be Lesnar? I don't think it's Lesnar. I don't think Lesnar is the man showing up on Sunday. The two more likely people who are likely going to be showing up on Sunday, the first off, there's Kurt Angle. So the WWE Hall of Famer and TNA Hall of Famer, don't forget that's the thing that exists. He posted a video to Twitter earlier today showing, he's putting on some boots. He looks like he's putting on his gear. It looks like he's getting ready for an in-ring return. It said at the end of the video, to be continued. From a personal note, I'm not sure whether I want to see Kurt Angle at this point in his life getting back into a wrestling ring. He said before that he was really struggling. When he came back to WWE, when he was in the GM role, his body felt like it started closing up because he wasn't getting those reps in the ring. Now, it would concern me if he came back, because it's been a long time since he's been in the ring, at least publicly, at least on television, since he's been in high caliber athletic competition. So it could be Kurt Angle. It could be, but I'm not a huge fan of Kurt Angle showing up. Now, someone I would be a huge fan of showing up, Christian. Now, funnily enough, obviously those two names are former WWE superstars who showed up to TNA and made massive impacts, if you pardon the pun. Now, Christian could be the one to show up. He reportedly didn't actually sign with WWE recently after he appeared in the Royal Rumble match. People were expecting him, after showing up in the men's Royal Rumble match, to be signing a short-term deal with WWE to do some appearances going forward. But apparently that hasn't happened. So there's a chance that Christian could be appearing this Sunday at AEW Revolution. Now, Tony Khan, the AEW president, recently said to Busted Open Radio that the person he has signed, it is a big name. It's one of his favourite wrestlers of all time. Now, we don't know what that means. It's obviously he's going to promote who's showing up. You can't just turn around and say, it's some guy. It's some guy. You can't do that. You have to promote. He is a promoter. He has to make sure that he's getting as many eyeballs as possible on the product for Sunday. It's already a huge pay-per-view. They only do 4 a year. They do 4 pay-per-views a year. They've got to knock it out the park each and every time. Fundamentally, out of those 4 that I just named, I mean, there's a few other people in the periphery. Mark Henry is someone who has said recently he wants to return to wrestling. I don't think it's Mark Henry. I don't think he's in Tony Khan's top list of favourite wrestlers. He might be. Tony Khan seems like he likes Mark Henry. They were quite cordial on Busted Open Radio, but I don't think it's Mark Henry. I also don't think it's Rob Van Dam, although he is a major talent. The issue that AEW have is they got to make sure that this person comes in. This person's got to be a pretty damn big name, because you can't hype this much for it to be someone like, just kind of like people doing the whole, oh, it's just an ex-WWE guy. Now, CM Punk, that's fine. That's more than a big enough name. Brock Lesnar, I think that's more than a big enough name. Christian and Kurt Angle worry me. Christian, not so much. Actually, Kurt Angle worries me though, as kind of a part. I don't want to say past it, because he is one of the greatest of all time. Kurt Angle sincerely is, on the microphone, in the ring, all-rounder, one of the best to ever do it. But I don't want to see Kurt Angle wrestle in 2021. I don't want to see Kurt Angle wrestle in 2022. I think he's done now. I think he'd do a great job as a trainer. I think AEW should hire him to train. Absolutely get him there for his knowledge. Whereas Christian, I think Christian could still go. I mean, he's in the best shape of his career. He looks fantastic. We've seen how well Edge has done coming back. You know, Edge spent the whole Royal Rumble. He came in at number 1 and he lasted the whole thing and won it. Christian looks like he could go. And he's always been described as a wrestler's wrestler. He's been described as someone who, you know, everyone has always said Christian is massively underrated. Massively, massively underrated. He did a great job when he came to TNA as the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. Could he be the person going to AEW? I think the most likely is Christian. And I'd be quite happy with that. He's a major talent. From, you know, he's in the last 20 years, he's been part of the bigger eras. He's part of the Attitude Era. Then he was a major part of TNA. He really was. People forget how big Christian Cage was in TNA. He was a really, really big, important part of that company for a long time. So I think it's going to be Christian. So thank you very much for watching the video here, right here on YouTube, SEScoops. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and hit the little notification bell so you know each and every time we release brand new videos right here on SEScoops.